Box office returns from 1989's Batman propelled its director, a big-haired weirdo, to the top of the Tinseltown winner list. He could have done pretty much anything from there. And this is where most directors really settle into the program and slowly drift away from whatever spark it was that got people's attention in the first place. Tim Burton, however, chose this moment to reach back into something that was born in suburban California in the early 70s. I like to imagine him amidst the throes of adolescence, sitting in the back row of freshman algebra, sketching in a notebook, and producing this image of a man with wiry hair and thin, number 2 graphite-covered limbs. I can picture a perfect moment of delight when his fevered mind produced a strange decision to give his figure scissors for hands. If the short feature Frankenweenie and the cornerstone film Beetlejuice are clues to the inner workings of Tim Burton's mind, Edward Scissorhands is full disclosure. Much like a million creative minds before him, Burton grew up feeling like an outsider. He said that he could never escape the feeling that the world around him didn't want anything to do with him. Obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe, Vincent Price, and the monster movies of Ray Harryhausen, Burton had little to connect with in Nixon's America. While the bushy blonde citizens of California would take 20 years to see his value, he was, if Edward Scissorhands is any indication, rather fascinated with them all along. On the surface, Edward Scissorhands is a flat-out parody of suburban America and a criticism of its intolerance, and that it is. But you can't escape Burton's incredible comfort in the ridiculousness of domestic life. Characters fall pretty hard to either side of a moral line. There are 5.5 characters in Edward Scissorhands who are pure of heart. I include Alan Arkin's genius performance as the patriarchal Bill as a half, due to the fact that his innocence comes from a place of complete oblivion. Diane Weith's Peg, Winona Ryder's Kim, Vincent Price's Inventor, and Officer Allen, the policeman who saves Edward from an angry mob, are the only characters beside Edward himself that aren't self-serving leeches. I get the impression that it's these kind of archetypes that endeared the otherwise grueling process of Tim Burton's upbringing. Well-meaning parents, ultra-rare authority figures of compassion, and of course, doe-eyed American girls. Edward doesn't even see Kim until the 40-minute mark, but their love story is the front-runner in the narrative. Some of the film's most powerful moments come from Danny Elfman's brilliant and haunted score, punctuating illustrations of longing, of desperate, unrequited love for a pretty girl down the street from a disfigured outsider. Many writers relate their formative years through allegory. Some do so literally. One way or another, most creative people tell their own story. I can think of no other example where someone does so as wonderfully intertwined with the literal and the fantastic as Tim Burton in Edward Scissorhands. Vincent Price shaped the heart of a young boy, trapped behind the gates of suburbia. It was a heart that cost him acceptance, but gave him a richness of character that would sustain indefinitely.